Hi there, this is Jermaine Kibidu and welcome to pianoplaying.blogspot.com. Today I want to look at the major 7th chord. I'm going to break this lesson up into 3 parts. Firstly, we're going to explain how to formulate the chord or how to actually play the chord. Secondly, I'm going to look at the different forms with the inversions. So you have more than one ways of playing the major 7th chord. And then lastly, I'm going to look at how can you incorporate this into your playing using the number system, and we can then spot where you can play a major 7th chord. So let's get started. I'm going to be in the key of C, and let's look at it. The first thing that you should be familiar with at this stage is the number system. So if you are in the key of C, you sit with the numbers that goes from C, which starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then back to 1, right? But now the thing is, this will be on the 7th degree. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So normally with a major triad chord in the root position, you will have the 1, the 3, and the 5 working together to get a major triad chord. If you add the 7, that's how you actually can play a major 7th chord. Okay? So let's see if this holds true in another key. Let's look at A flat. Right, so you have A flat there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and there you have the 1, the 3, the 5, and then you add the 7. I'm playing this with my left hand because once you get to a level where there is a bass player playing along, you want to be able to play the chord with the left hand, right? Now once you get that sorted, or once you understand how to play a major 7th, the best route for you to get this is to practice that chord in all 12 keys. Now what I would do, start off on the C, work my way up, just like this. And then you're back to the C again. And that's how you can practice it for both hands. See? So try and practice that for both hands. It is a good thing if you can practice this with your left hand, even though you might not use it at this stage. You might only play it like this with the left hand bass, but just give it a go. Just try to add the left hand so that when you do get a bass player, then you're ready for that. Okay, so the second thing that we will look at is different ways of playing the major 7th chord. So this was the first way, right? This is the root position of the major 7th chord, right? Now let me spell it out for you, and then we will look at the different forms. So I have C, E, G, and B, right? That's the first root position. Then we invert the chord like this. Now remember, if you invert, the only thing you do is take the bottom note, which is that C, and play it an octave higher. So that would be a first inversion. So let me spell out this chord. It is E, G, B, C, right? The first inversion. Then we take this again and move it an octave up there, and then we sit with this chord. So let me spell this out. Is G, B, C, and E. That would be your second inversion, and then you actually have another one over there, because now you took the G up an octave. So let's look at that. You have B, C, E, and G. Okay, I just want to throw something else in. Please don't confuse the C major 7th with the C 7th chord, or dominant 7. Sometimes people say C7. What that means is that you flat the 7 to a flat 7 to the B flat. You go from the B to the B flat, and that makes it a C7th chord. So we're not focusing on this one, we're focusing on that one. So obviously now you can play all those different inversions, and then you can try and practice all those chords with the different inversions in all 12 keys. Okay, so the last thing is how do we use this? How do we use the major 7? If you only familiar with some of my first lessons where I only dealt with the triad chords, how do you incorporate the major 7 like that? Okay, so looking at the number system, the first place that where you will play a major 7 is over the 1. That's the obvious choice, right? So you can play any one of them. Okay. Then you can also play that over the 6, right? Remember, it's that same chord, and you play it over the A, which is the 6. But just to throw in some technicality, once you do this and go to the 6, you can actually not call it a major 7th chord anymore. I'm just trying to show you patterns, how you can work around the idea of where to use a major 7th chord, right? But it actually becomes a minor 9 chord, right? When you go to the A on your left hand and you play that major 7th chord, it is not a C major 7th chord anymore. You will call this an A minor 9 because of the root position, right? The next place in that, or the next number that you can also play the major 7th chord is over the 4. But now you can't play that same major 7th chord, which you can get away with. It doesn't sound that bad depending on the song, but for most part you can play the F major 7 over the 4, right? So this is how you deal with this chord. Then in that same place on the 2, you can also play that major 7th chord that you played on the 4, but now you move to the 2 on your left hand, right? Now again, technically this is not a F major 7th anymore. It now becomes a D minor 9. Okay, and then lastly, some people play that same F major 7th over the 5 as well, and then they resolve to the regular 5 chord, which is G major, and then they go back to the 1. Okay, so let's just review that. You can play the C major 7th or a major 7th chord over the 1, over the 6 by using the same major 7th chord, and then over the 4, and then over a 2, 5 as well, and then resolve, and then back to the 1. So that is how you can use the major 7th. You can do that in any key. Let's see if you play in E, right there I have the major 7. Okay, any one of those. Sorry, not the 9. And then when you go to the 6, you can play that same major 7, and then you go to the 4, you play the 4, which is A, that major 7, and then that same A major 7 you can play over the 2, right, and then over the 5 as well, and then you come back. Okay, and that's how you can implement playing the major 7th chord as part of your chords that you now have. So thank you, that's the lesson. Maybe before I say goodbye, I just want to thank all for subscribing to my email list as well as my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. Please note that all my lessons are free, and you are free to share it with anyone that you think might benefit from it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or ask them in the comment section. And yeah, again, have fun.